Hey, I'm Ali. Welcome to Little Hill Homestead. A couple weeks ago, I released a video to you guys that showed our pantry, basically our pantry, and all the food that we keep in our home for a 3-month supply. During that video, I kept talking about a Google sheet that I was gonna, or Google document that I was gonna share with you guys and kind of show you how we keep track of what we store in our pantry, how we came up with the list of what we store in our pantry, and basically just like an overall how we got to where we are with our pantry. So let me start from the beginning. My husband and I were both raised in California, and out there you prepare for earthquakes. And where we live now in the South, we prepare for tornadoes, ice storms, winter storms, hurricanes that come through. It's very different what we prepare for here versus what we did there. So when we moved here, our very first winter, we lost power for either 6 or 7 days, I can't remember. And I had to make a cup of coffee on a candle. It was horrible. And so this was 9 years ago. And when that happened, my husband and I decided we really need to have the food on hand that we eat in case of an emergency, something like that. But also, we have what we call a working pantry. And so what we keep in our home is what we actually eat. We don't stockpile beets. We don't stockpile foods that we don't actually eat. So like what you guys saw in there, there's a few things that we've either gotten when people moved or different stuff like that that are not things that we necessarily would normally keep in there. But that's the gist of what we eat. During the summer, we eat drastically different because we eat out of our garden. But we also put up a lot of what we grow during the summer so that we have it during the winter months. And so that's like the one wall that has our home canned stuff. Eventually, we're gonna convert to all home canned stuff, but it's a process. You can only do so much. We're all human, right? But so when my husband and I started this journey, we bought a lot of printer paper, to be honest, is how we started it. So we went online and we looked up anything that had to do with like stocking your pantry or preparedness or self-sustaining, or like if you are one that cooks from scratch, what would you keep in your home to have? And so some of it that we pulled up is like the 1-year plan. If you guys are familiar with preparedness or stockpiling or having a pantry or anything like that, you know the LDS Church is one that has a lot of resources. We used a lot of them and they have great numbers. Some of them are very, very high, so we don't stick to those, but it's a great starting point. But we went through like this one. I'm just gonna show you. These are all from years ago. I don't know if they still exist. I'm gonna try to find links and put them below for you guys. But like this one is everydayfoodstorage.net. And it's basically just like a list. Like if you had to go and create a pantry from scratch, what all would you need? And this one is for a 3-month supply. It doesn't give quantities though, but it gives you kind of the basis of what you would need. This one is from preparedldsfamily.blogspot.com. This one, I'm gonna drop stuff. I liked because it shows it by category, but then it also shows you like how many you want, how many you would need to get to that point if you do an inventory. But it goes over it's got everything in there. And so this one we actually used a lot when we were coming up with our list. But I was saying like there's actually, I believe it's, you have to Google it and I'll see if I can find it for you. But like these, the LDS Church releases for a family of however many, how much of each item you should have for a 1-year stockpile, basically. So like, for instance, we're a family of 5. We're supposed to have 350 pounds of sugar. I think we have 25. We aim for 25. So obviously, like I said, the numbers are not the same, but the reason we're doing it is just so that we have stuff in case of emergency and what we actually live on for 3 months versus, what other people stockpile for. So there's a couple of good resources that we found. But I also, in this folder, this front section, every time we do an inventory of our pantry, I print it and we keep it in the front of this. I also have like receipts from different times we've gone grocery shopping and stuff like that. The other thing that we did a ton of research online, and there's lots of calculators online that you guys can use and sample pantry lists. I mean, and it's changed so much. Like when we did this 10 years ago, there was not nearly as much information as there has been since COVID food supply and chain supply issues. You know, that really changed kind of how everybody viewed food, to be honest. So there's probably more now than there was then. The other thing that I have is this book from 1966. It was actually my father-in-law's. I got it when he passed away. And it talks about the basic items, the medical items. It's got like, you know, if you use something, you put a tally mark in the back of it. And it's so sweet because I love it, because my husband thinks a lot like my husband and I. My father-in-law thought a lot like my husband and I do. And so seeing this, my father had a lot of peanut butter, a lot. And so I'm reading this and it cracks me up because he has peanut butter underlined so many times in here. And I was like, I see why he had so much peanut butter. But it was sweet because he spent hours and hours reading books like this. And like, this is what I think is so sweet. It's his handwritten notes of stuff that he felt would be important for his family to have, you know, like a surgical knife. We don't obviously have, that's not true. We have a suture kit because I have given my husband stitches twice. But canned juices and Jell-O and canned meats. And it was just so sweet to see how many hours he spent writing down what he thought his family would need to survive. And, you know, we kind of do the same thing. So I love having this from him because honestly, I get choked up sometimes when I look at it because he was an awesome man. But, so there's a lot of resources out there, guys, to come up with a list of what, 1, you'll eat, 2, you'll eat, and 3, you'll eat. Because if you're not going to eat it, you don't want to have it in your pantry. So let me show you. We have a Google Doc that we created. We used some of those. We came up with a list. And then we like Google Docs because they're shareable. So my husband and I both have access to this. We're both editors. So he can go into it from his computer. I can go into it from mine. I can actually go into it from my phone. And every 3 months we do a pantry inventory. So let me see if I can flip the camera around and show you guys this. Ooh, nope, it's not gonna let me. Let me turn you off and turn you back on. Okay, so I'm hoping, let me see if I can zoom you in. I can a little bit, there we go. So this is what our doc looks like. And like I said, it's a live document, so my husband and I both have access to it. And we print it out, well, not every time, but every few times that we do this, we will print it out. And I'm hoping you can see this okay. We'll print it out and we'll update it to make sure that the items that we are stocking in our pantry are items we still eat. Because if you're not eating it anymore, there's really no point to have pounds and pounds of coffee. Or if you have a peanut allergy, maybe don't have that in your pantry. You get the gist of it. So what we did when we did this is we have a have, a want, a buy. We have a price from the last time that we purchased it. And then this total cost will update based on the information you fill in on the fields. We have categories in bold. So like right here, it says baking mixes and supplies. And then everything below that would be part of that baking mix. Or we have a tomato category, a pasta category. Well, like I said, this will be linked below. You cannot edit it because it would edit my version, but I believe you'll be able to copy it and create your own document to update with the things that you would put in your pantry. So the way that we made this is that anytime you put, like when we do go through our pantry, we'll go through this. Sometimes I zero out, but it'll automatically update. So like say like last time we did the pantry, we had 3 Jiffies. We typically want 4, right? When you tab this, it's gonna change that to a 1. Then it tells me that I have to spend 59 cents on my Jiffy, which I think it's gone up in price now, to get back to where I want to. So this whole column is gonna update and give us a new total at the bottom of what we need. So like flour, bread flour, semolina, sugar, we want 5 or 4 or 2 or whatever, but those are 5-pound containers. Those are packages. We just know because we built this. So like flour, if we had 4, it would update to where now I need 1. So you see kind of how it works. And then what we would do is we go down this whole stinking list. And some of these are handmade items. So like cake mix, we now make handmade, but I like to have 2 on stock. So I will use this as well. Like last time we needed baked beans. And so I took this and then I canned baked beans, or I can things based on this as well. Soups, this is the other thing that we do with this. Like last time we had 16 cans of chicken noodle soup. We like to have 2. So we know like this week we're doing a pantry challenge at our house. We're gonna use up chicken noodle soup one night and make a bunch of chicken noodle soup and grilled cheese sandwiches to get the used up. So it also holds you accountable, because if you're overbuying, you're gonna know it. And so you can update these numbers every 3 months. We just quarterly to get, to see what you actually use. But like I said, if you're overstocking, just plan a night where you're gonna use that stuff up. So this is basically our list. Like I said, it'll be linked below, but things like this. We just did this and we said, you know what? We do not use the El Pato jalapeno nearly as much as we used to. And we feel comfortable taking that out of our pantry. So I'm going to delete this the next time I go through and edit this list. So you can go through and update it to what fits you best, what you use, quantity-wise what you use, and these are all editable. Editable? That's a word. Oh, the other thing we did is over here, like see how you see C's on some of these? That just means we buy it from Costco or Sam's Club because we get a better price on it. We used to keep like a W for Walmart, a K for Kroger, but it got just too confusing. Everybody's prices are changing drastically anyways. But basically this is our list. And then what we'll do, sorry, I'm scrolling back to the top, is this is gonna, once we fill in all the haves and the wants, our buy will create itself that number that we're gonna have to have. And what I typically do is I will go in here, copy this. Let me see if I can do it. Nope. Nope, sorry, it's the X right here. I'll create a sheet and I'll go over here and I would paste all the stuff that I would end up needing to buy to create my grocery list for the next, I must have one hidden because I have one here. But basically I would either hide B and C and I would copy A and D so that I knew my grocery list. Then I sit there and I can go on to like walmart.com and do a grocery pickup and go down my list and have exactly what I need, and it walks right into my house and goes into my pantry. So like I said, I will share this below, but this is what we eat in a 3-month span. We came up with like, let me flip you guys around. I know. So what we did is we looked at like some of our favorite recipes. Like we like to make chili, white chicken chili. We do something called a chicken lettuce wrap. We looked at the recipes that we make often. We looked at, okay, in 3 months, how many times do we expect to make that item? And like, say like Mexican rice, we use Herdez for our Mexican rice. And we thought, okay, we eat it once a week. That's 4 times a month. So in 3 months, we're gonna make it 12 times. So on here for our Herdez, we would have 12. You know, every once in a while we may not use it, or we may end up using an extra, but we track this every 3 months and we know how darn close we actually get to using what we have. The other thing that we do is before we do go sit down together and do our inventory of our pantry, I usually go in, I pull things to the front, I check expiration dates, we use up anything that's about to expire, we FIFO it, we get it all organized so that we're using what we have previous to us bringing new food in the house. But we found this to be the easiest way for us. It's a shared document, like I said, so my husband can go in and add things if we suddenly start eating, like, for example, I had to give up coffee, or my husband has gallbladder out, so we had to change our diet a little bit when that all went down. We've changed our master list every single time our lifestyle kind of changes. And it's really served us well. We've had it, like I said, for many, many years at this point. And every single time that we do a pantry inventory, I change the date at the top. So let me show you one more time. Right here, it says stock up 2024. January 2024. I'll go in and change that so that I know, okay, the last time we did this was April 2024 or whatever. and I'll just keep the date updated on there. But like I said, I'm gonna share our Google Sheet doc. I can't even think what it's called, you guys. It's Google Doc. I'm gonna share that below. If you guys have a Gmail, or I believe there's other ways that you can get into it. As long as you have the link below, you can go in there. You'll be able to copy and paste it. You will not be able to edit it. Like I said, it would edit my list if you edit it. So all of a sudden I would go in to do my 3-month stock up and I'd be buying whatever you needed. Well, not necessarily what we need, but just think of things that you don't think of, if that makes any sense. Like, obviously when COVID hit, people ran. My poor kid's getting up and he's looking through the house like, what are you doing, Mom? Hi. Good morning. It's like 4:30 in the afternoon, you guys, by the way. I have an influence. Yeah, it's morning. Anyways. What was I saying? Oh! Now there's a squirrel outside. It's just a day, you guys. Little Homestead. We're a real life family and we have dogs and squirrels. But what I was saying is, during COVID, we all ran and people bought toilet paper for 3 years because there was a scare of us running out of it. Having something like this, it's a security, because you know that if something like that happens, you have enough for a while to keep your family safe. It's like, what is that new movie that just came out on Netflix? Something the end of the, I don't even know. The one with Julia Roberts. These people are posting that they're running out and buying gas masks and solar generators. And I'm like, you guys, yeah, to each his own. But for me, it's just a way we eat this stuff normally. So I don't feel like I'm wasting money preparing my family for a 3-month, food stash. But anyways, basically look below. I'm gonna link the a couple LDS things. I'll see if I can find the book that my father-in-law had that we inherited from him. But I'll put a couple links and things below of some of the calculators that we used, if I can still find them, and our Google Doc to share with you guys as well. So take a look below for a few resources. But like I said, just buy what you guys eat. I know a lot of people get out a piece of paper and they start writing down like, okay, this week we ate these meals and we eat these this many times a month. And what ingredients would I need in my pantry to make that meal, like I was saying earlier. But don't buy stuff you're not gonna eat, because literally you're gonna go through your pantry a year from now and throw it away. Because that's what we did with some of the stuff originally. So just make sure you're checking dates. Make sure you're FIFOing, which first in, first out. Pull your stuff to the front. Put your new stuff that you buy behind it. Just keep it as organized as you can. Like I said, it's hard to, it's easy to get overkill stocking a pantry. I'm a mom. I feel it, when you're worried about not having enough food for your family, it is easy to run out and buy way too much. This is the best way that we came up with to keep ourselves accountable on the quantities that we need and things, like I said, that we actually eat. So look below, and thanks for coming along for the ride. Appreciate you guys.